The mother thinks the child is better off dead to get revenge on the father. The mother can't care for her child, or the mother has been abused and neglected as a child. But you killed your daughter for the love of a bum named Brad.
This little girl was tortured until her last breath by her own mother and her mother's boyfriend. Let's talk about 4-year-old Gabrielle Barrett. Hi guys, welcome back. If you're new here, go ahead and feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. Without further ado, let's talk about true crime on my mind. Candace Renee Diaz was the mother of 4-year-old Gabrielle Barrett. Candace suffered from a rough childhood, even though it is nothing compared to what her and her boyfriend did to poor little Gabrielle. Candace also had a neglectful mother herself, and at only 4 years old, Candace's mother left her in the care of her grandmother, which she ended up being an alcoholic. One day, she had been taken away from her grandmother and her mother to be in the care of another family member, Cynthia Diaz. In June of the 2000s, Cynthia was granted parental custody of Candace because Candace's mother stopped being in contact with her and eventually disappeared from her life. Like her mother, Candace's father disappeared from her life and provided no child care. Later on, Cynthia and Candace went on to move from Kentucky to the state of Michigan. Everything seemed normal until Candace reached her teenage years, also known as the rebel years. One might think that Candace would grow out of that phase, but unfortunately, that was not the case for Candace. She took that rebel phase with her into her early 20s, and there she met a boy named Kyle Barrett. The pair ended up having a child named Gabrielle Renee Barrett, aka Gabby, who was born on July 3rd, 2013. One might think that maybe Candace having a child would make her more focused in taking care of Gabrielle and putting behind her rebel years, but that was not the case. Candace ended up leaving Kyle, and later in 2015, she decided to undergo another relationship with a man named Brad Edward Fields. Their relationship seemed serious enough to the point where Candace went to live with him. The two settled in a mobile home in Bellevue, Michigan, but Candace forgot something, and the most important thing, her daughter, Gabby. Candace left her daughter with Cynthia and wanted to live with Brad like she never had a child in the first place. But less than a year later, she called 911 because Brad and her were arguing and it got heated, and Brad chased her out of their mobile home with a firearm. The family dog was even caught in all of this altercation, and it wasn't clear if the dog was okay or not, and even Brad was injured on his leg during all of this commotion. When officers arrived at the scene, they saw that their mobile home was filthy. Dirty dishes, clogged sink, messy bedrooms, the dog's blood from their altercation, and there was even a rabbit locked inside a filthy cage. What made them think they could take care of animals when Candace couldn't even take care of her own child? The officers recovered a lot of weapons, including 2 firearms that were not registered and one with a scratched off serial number, as well as medication that was not prescribed. There was even a prescription pad found, and neither of them were doctors to have a prescription pad in their possession. Initially, Brad was charged with domestic violence, but then out of nowhere, Candace had a change of mind and she decided to drop the charges towards Brad, claiming that he was schizophrenic and wasn't taking his medication properly. That's why he wasn't in control of his actions, per what Candace said. She even took the blame for both of the firearms found in the mobile home, and she was charged with altering firearms as well as having the prescription pad in her possession, earning her 2 years of probation. But on the other hand, Brad wasn't charged with anything, given that Candace dropped the charges and also that she took the blame for everything. While all of that was happening, Cynthia was taking care of Gabby, and Gabby was living her best life. But one day, Cynthia needed to enroll Gabby into preschool, and she couldn't do it because she wasn't Gabby's legal guardian. She was only her adopted parent. So little Gabby needed to go live with her biological mother and Brad. She was going to live a whole different life than what she was used to. Gabby started to have bathroom issues while living with Brad and Candace. I mean, any child would have bathroom issues at the age of 4, especially if the mother did not place any attention into her potty training. But Gabby's teachers would mention that Gabby did not have any issues while at school. It was believed that the issue was only when Gabby was at home. I want to mention that Brad and Candace had another child of their own, but that child was completely unharmed during all of the stuff they would do to poor little Gabby. Making matters worse, Brad and Candace would physically punish her if she had any accidents while at home. They did inexplicable things, including placing her in a garbage bag while also giving her drugs. They even went to a further extent to message in Facebook Messenger and talk about all the horrific things Brad was going to do to little Gabby. Some of the alleged abuse detailed in the messages, including cold baths, being hit in the mouth, and sleeping on the cold floor of the mobile home wearing nothing but underwear. The abuse was so common that the interruption of the video game Call of Duty meant punishment was certain for little Gabby. You'd expect someone to notice something during school hours because Gabby had significant bruises on her face while going to school, but nobody said anything. Maybe that could have saved Gabby's life. On December 31st, 2017, both Brad and Candace decided to make Gabby suffer for the last time. They decided to place Gabby in the bathtub unattended while they did other things. When she noticed Gabby was unconscious, Candace called Cynthia in order for Cynthia to come to their mobile home and perform CPR. But how would she be able to do so when Cynthia was living tops 30 minutes away from Candace? Instead, Cynthia should have called 911, but Cynthia did not do so, and instead, she drove those 30 minutes towards a mobile home while Gabby was unconscious the whole time. Finally, all three people decided to call 911, saying nothing was helping. By the time medics arrived at the scene, Gabby had already passed away. Candace claimed that Gabby had a tendency to take long baths, and that's how she passed away while Candace was making pancakes. She said that it was about an hour later when she went to go check on Gabby, and there she was unconscious. Yet the medics who were on the scene reported that Gabby had a lot of red marks on her body, as well as there were no signs of water in her lungs or was her skin pruning like she had taken a long bath like Candace claimed. Later, police officials searched the mobile home, and there they saw so much trace of Gabby's DNA in there. Allegedly, Brad was trying to destroy any evidence. An autopsy report claimed that Gabby died from septic shock and battered child syndrome. Battered child syndrome is defined as a collection of injuries sustained by a child as a result of repeated mistreatment or beating. She passed away on January 1st, 2018 on New Year's Day. But that wasn't even the worst part. It was said that little Gabby suffered serious injuries to her body and her teeth were even decaying. Professionals believe that Gabby was suffering from great pain until the moment she passed away. Officials had more than enough proof in their hands to arrest Brad and Candace, but they were nowhere to be found. They actually fled to Georgia and were arrested 8 days later. They surrendered only because they had a plan in their head. They wanted to tell officials that they both suffered from mental illness, and that's why they did such heinous crime. Of course, the two were found guilty of their crimes on October 9th, 2018. Brad Fields was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, and Candace was supposed to receive the same sentence as Brad, but she was given a plea deal on December 5th, 2018, which reduced her sentence to second-degree homicide and first-degree child abuse. She was sentenced to 30 to 60 years in prison.
Destroyed this beautiful child's spirit, body, but never her soul. You allowed him to put your child in a garbage bag when she wet herself, to give her drugs. Your response was, Brad beat her ass. What crime could this precious child commit that would cause such severe punishment? None. You were more concerned about feeding Brad the bum than your own child. And he showed you a video of being tortured after he showed you a video of him torturing your child in a garbage bag. Your response was, do you want some McDonald's? You were never a mother to your child. You were a female breeder who neglected your child for the love of a bum named Brad.
No child should go through any pain and suffering like this, especially hate from their own mother. Please do not bring a child into this world if you're gonna abuse them, do any harm to them, please. But let me know what you think about this case, and may little Gabby rest in peace.